How did I go from being an accountant for 15 years to becoming an accountability coach? Look, I think the biggest barrier within our career journey is that if we stay in a particular job or industry for so long, we have this idea that that's it. That's it, we chose it. Like, if only I had another choice, I would have picked something different. Like, if only I knew what I did, I wouldn't have done this. But that's a very narrow-minded view of the chosen career. And yes, before you go, no, but I've invested so much time, I get it. I was in there as well. Like, I started right from the bottom. I started as a graduate accountant to then, get my promotion and then step up slowly. Like, I did that. So I understand it took a lot of effort and money to invest in education and qualification to get there, because I got my CPA, and technically I'm still an accountant. I'm still CPA qualified. And then I went and got an MBA because I think this would give me an edge. And really, I feel like at every stage in your career, it's about how can I be the best version of myself? Not necessarily the best in the world, but just the best version of myself. Like, I thought of it as like, okay, I know that if I was doing this accounting career, being a CPA or CA, that's absolutely, that's required. Like, people that don't do it if they're an accountant, I just think they don't like it at all. Like, they are struggling and they don't like it. Change career, change job. That's not your thing. Because if you wanted to do it, you would definitely want to strive to the next level. And that is the absolute basic of the next level in the career for an accountant. If we didn't have that, then your salary is not really going to drastically increase. And realistically, aren't we really doing a job to get paid? So to go from, say, something like $40,000, $50,000 to getting $70,000, well, that qualification is kind of required. unless money didn't matter to you, but I'm going to assume it does. And then, so if you want to break the barrier between like 70 to like 6 figures, well, it's like, what else are you doing? Like, you've got to be value adding. That's why I did my MBA, because I recognize that technical skills can only get me so far. And they can be really good softwares that for an accountant, if you're just going to sit there and you're just crunching numbers, doing reports and then reporting it, the value adding activity isn't really there. The value adding activity is from people interaction, because if you can get really good information for the management to make better decision, well, that's value adding, because that cannot come from a report or what's going on. Like, you need to have this conversation. And a lot of these conversations doesn't actually occur unless there's real trust established between the departments, to the point that we like each other. So that's like business partnering, right? You like each other, you get along well. So then when things are about to go wrong, or a deal isn't going to happen, or there's a red flag coming up, or hey, something's going to delay whatever is going on, or you didn't spend this money because of this reason, you'll get to know the truth before you go and prompt someone. Because now you've friend them in a way that, hey, they want to tell you before it happens. They want to alert you before you go and chase them, go, hey, give me the variance explanation, because I need to do my report. Because at that point, most of the time, they don't necessarily want to tell you the real truth, but kind of like what makes sense for that they think is an answer you want to hear. Or you get something very generic, like, oh, it was just a timing difference. Like, it's like, that doesn't add any value. So acknowledging that aspect of it, it's like, okay, well, I need to hone in on the softer skills. that's why I did an MBA in public relations. But this also wasn't just the area I was focused on. I wanted to push a bit outside. I'm like, okay, I wanted to be like a maybe start a business, but that just kind of seems scary. I don't know how to do it. So I'm like, okay, well, if I start looking into like entrepreneurship and innovation, maybe that will give me some ideas. So I studied those subjects as part of my MBA, which involved like, hey, coming up with business ideas, having to put together a pitch and then delivering it to class, like with a few teammates. So that kind of thing it's improving your presentation skills and concising messages, and how do you get like investors on board on your idea, right? So there's that kind of stuff that I'm like starting to broaden, so to push my boundary that I felt stuck in. Now at this point, I still didn't know how to really get out, and nor did I ever go, hey, I'm going to be a coach. But it's just like I knew that I was good at accounting, or I am good at accounting. Like I'm good with numbers. I'm good with like, I understand how the money flows between the books. As in like, you know, how does it go from like the profit and loss to the balance sheet to the cash flow? Like I get that. I get the journaling to do with it. The accrual side and how things balance. Those things are fine. But this is ultimately not what I wanted to do in life. Because when I think about how I want to grow myself as a person, career is only one aspect. And there is this huge personal development I wanted to do. So after spending so long in accounting and then ultimately switching into projects, and I had to learn different skills to do that. Like I enrolled in to do a green belt. So this international recognition where you have to, in real life, put together a process improvement case. Like in your office, you will actually see how you can improve a particular process. You will document that all out with the tools and levers that you're taught as part of the course, and then implement that in real life and document the steps on where did this process start, and then what did you do at each stage to then streamline that process. This thing's got to be real. Like you've actually got to hold the meetings and then do the different things and put on the different hats, improvement hats, to play the role, and then get to the data that actually has the result to go, okay, I went from this amount to saving this amount, or I went from this process which has 20 steps to now 3 steps, and I've saved time from this process going from 4 hours to now it takes 1 hour to do it. So this is like a written report that you have to do, and it's probably like some 40-page document that you had to type out, which gets sent to an internationally recognized place. I think it's like somewhere in Europe, France or something. I don't know, can't remember, somewhere in Europe. And an actual person assess this thing and go, yep, cool. And then once you have this, you'll be green belt qualified. Now, this type of thing is like, no matter what I did in my journey, it's about seeking to be a better version of myself somehow. So if I'm delivering a project, I'm like, well, what makes someone deliver a project better than like an average person? Like you want to be able to deliver a project firstly on time, and then to hopefully be able to improve the process as well and make it more efficient, so that next time or similar projects can adopt that approach. So how do you do things faster, quicker, better, saving resources, money to do that? Now, after that, I was like, okay, cool. But some projects I'm really excited about, and then there'll be some projects I'm less excited about. But because I'm working for somebody, I have a responsibility to deliver no matter what, right? And this may not be how I would ideally like to consume my time. So once I've realized that, I'm like, well, but if I start my own thing, I have full control of my time in terms of how I allocate it. And what this means is that I feel like our life is, we want to be the best version of ourselves. And that means we should tap into our potential and turn those into a skill, like really a skill set. And then how do you package it up in order to bring value to people? So we're all good at something. When I think about coaching, I'm not thinking coaching as in like, hey, you got to be a life coach or a business coach. It's about what do you do in your life that you're actually good at already, without having to particularly take in like courses. Like, you know, it's not like, oh, I did a sales course, how about I just do, yeah, I'll just advertise that I'm a very good closer. You can. Are you a really good closer? It's like, it's not to just do one thing and then go be that. You can try it. There's no harm in trying it. But it's about, hey, what do I actually enjoy doing the most? And only you would know. And once you feel that pull, it's like, hey, this is the activity I really like doing the most, then hone in on that and invest your time into this thing. Whether you, to grow this into a real skill set. So this could come in the form of books, you hire your own coaches, you go into programs, you ask people what they've done and tell you more about it. Like, how do you grow this potential of yours? And when you try it, if it's a thing that you think maybe you like, then you do it and you get the result. Well, now you've got like more certainty and more confident you can do this. So I started with, hey, I'll help some people out for free. And when I'm seeing massive changes in their life, it's like, whoa, okay, that really worked. And how do I continue to make that work? Is that just, you know, was that just luck? Can I replicate this for other people? And if I can do this multiple times and I can get people to shift, well, that means this process or the system is working. But if I'm like, okay, well, one person shifted a lot more than this person, then it's like, well, what can I do? What's the difference between them? How come I can get this person to move more as opposed to this person? Now, how can I push this person quicker? And people are different, but there are, I would say, kind of like different types of people, but there's not like billions of, even though we are all unique, there is still a pattern in us in what works and what doesn't work. There are like major sort of buckets, right? So if one way doesn't work, you just try another way. You just try another way. And then when you find there is a particular process that works quite well with majority of people, then this can become like, hey, your system. Like, you know, this thing is really good. You've got a lot of people that has the result. So now you can go, look, most people that's been with me can do this thing. So I expect it to be 3 or 4 months to get a similar result, because historically that's what you've gotten for your previous clients. Now, you won't know this until you start the journey. You won't know any of it until you start the journey. It can come out completely different. And if you jump into it and go, hey, whoa, I do not like talking to people. I thought maybe I like it, I don't. Then cool, you tried it, not your thing. Try something else. Maybe you feel like, hey, I'm really good at an instrument. Like, I'm really into music. That draws me. I really like art gallery. Maybe I'll start painting. Like, I don't know what that is for you, but you need to know that you are not married to your career. You're not married to your career. It's not like till death do us part. And you're probably thinking, well, yes, maybe not, but how do you go from like earning a lot because there's responsibilities and bills and all of that to take care of, and you can't just go, hey, I'll drop this thing, years of it, and do this thing from ground zero. Oh, is that a hard journey? It is. It is a hard journey, but is it worth it? Yes. I never tell people to take the plunge, like to go from, 100, six figure to like zero. That's what I did, but I planned for that, and I had a way to mitigate, to not have risk of not being able to pay for my bills. So if you want to take that step, what I encourage people to do is take an in-between step. So try it out on the side first. It's not going to cost you a lot of money because you can do a lot of things super cheap now. And so you can really kind of test what it is that you want to do. Then when you create that business with a small amount of time, and it's totally possible, even if you invested 5 hours a week into it, into this business. And if it's like moving in a way that's like, wow, I feel really excited. And, when you begin, you've got zero knowledge. So it's always best to get someone that's already gotten the result. Ask them the question. If you have friends that's done it, or if you have someone in your network that's done it, go and ask them the question, or see if you can get close to them somehow. And they can guide you through it because they understand what it's like to start. So that's going to speed you up really quick. And then once you make your first sale, then people are actually going to pay for this. Now you've broken this like limiting belief you have on yourself that's like, hey, who cares if I put something else out? No one's going to like try it. No one's going to care. I feel stupid. Like, you're not going to feel that. You're not going to feel that the moment you get the first sale. And then from there, it just grows. So then you'll reach a tipping point where you go, hey, I'm only putting 5 hours a week into this thing and I'm making X amount of dollars. I know that if I went full in now, that I can replace my income. That's the moment to pull the trigger and then go all in. That's when you exit your 9 to 5 and you actually do something you love. And I would say this is your first major step into doing something you really love. Then the next step can be, hey, how do I do this and get financially free, right? But you got to first take this step to go do something that I love. And this is like, I cannot stress the importance of this, because if you work all your life doing something you don't like, how will you feel? You're doing this 5 days out of 7 days. So I urge you to think about your career and what it is that you really want to do. And the question you want to ask yourself is, who do I want to be? Who do I want to be? Answer that.